Hi guys, this is Mrs. Sikhan here. We are going to learn about trigonometry. In the last video, we talked about Pythagorean theorem, and in this video, we are just going to talk about trigonometry. But before I start talking about trigonometry, I am going to let you know why do we need to use trigonometry over Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so let's say we have this triangle, and we have two sides given to us. Let's say this is 4 and that is 5, and question is find the hypotenuse. This is the side opposite to the 90-degree angle. We have two sides given to us and we need to find the third side. So this is where Pythagorean theorem is applicable. So let's say we have another triangle and we have this side and we need to find this side, and angle is given to us. I hope you can see it is red color. So now we have one side given. They're asking us to find the other side, and we have one of the angle given. This is called the reference angle. Either it will be given or they will be asking you to find this angle. Okay, so in this case, we are not able to use the Pythagorean theorem, because Pythagorean theorem is c square equal a square plus b square. You have to have two sides given to you in order to find the third one. Now we have only one side given to us. So Pythagorean theorem in this case is not applicable. You can only use it here because two sides are given to us. And when you have only one side given and one angle given, that's where you use trigonometry. There are three ratios in trigonometry. That's where three ratios are coming from. The word tri. Tri means 3. So there are three ratios. It's called sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, so sine, cosine, and tangent. I'm just going to help you out later on. How do you remember sine, cosine, and tangent ratios? Before I do that, I'm just going to help you out. How do you find the values using your calculator? Okay, so let's do some practice. I was able to find two calculators very similar to what I've seen in our class. So on your calculator, you will see these three keys. They're right beside each other, and see here, they're right beside each other here too. And on top of each key, you see same thing written, but there is a -1 on top of it. This is not what we need to use it now. We only need these buttons. We will be dealing with that sine, and -1 is called sine inverse, cosine inverse, and tangent inverse later on. Right now, you're only using whatever is written on the keys. Okay, so these three keys you need to use to find the values for sine, cosine, tangent. One thing I want to please make sure your calculator is in a degree mode. At the very top, you will see that little D here. Sometimes it says DEG. That means degree. That D also stands for degree. Make sure you know how to change your calculator's mode to degree. You do it by pressing going to this option. This calculator has mode here, and right here, this is how you set up. So just play around with it. You will find a way to turn that, change the mode to degree. Okay, so let's do some practice questions here. So tan 13 degree. What you need to do, press the tan on your calculator right here, this key, and then just type up 13. So on your calculator, I know I have something here because it was a screenshot. So you will see tan 13 on your calculator. And then just press the enter key. Sooner you press the enter key, you will see 0.2309. So if you're doing it correctly, you should get this number. If you're getting a different number, that means the mode of your calculator is not correct. Okay, so all you need to do is change the mode. Okay. All right, let's do cosine 35. Now we need to use the cosine key. So press the cosine, put a 35, press the equal key, and you will get 0.8192. Sine 84, and now we're going to use the sine key. press the sine button, 84, and you should get 0.9945. Every calculator works differently. Sometimes you need to press the trig ratio first, then put the value, then press the enter key. Sometimes you have to put the value first, then press the key. Okay, so make sure you are doing whatever works on your calculator. So as I said, either you will be entering this way or 1310. So it's one or the other, one of them will work on your calculator. Okay. Alright, so let's go to the next slide here. So how do you remember trig functions? As I mentioned in the first slide, there are three trig ratios. It's called sine, cosine, and a tangent. And I'm going to show you how do you remember it. Okay. So here is our right triangle. Okay, so how do you remember? There's a word called SOH CAH TOA. This will help you to remember your trig ratios. Okay, so SOH CAH TOA, you don't need to memorize. Please don't memorize, just understand. At the very end, I'm also going to give you one word. It's a sentence. Always write that sentence at the top of your page. It will help you to figure out the correct trig ratio. Okay, so SOH CAH TOA. Every time you do a question, write SOH CAH TOA at the top of your page. I still do it whenever I have to do a question. Okay, so SOH stands for, S is for right here, S is for sine, S is for sine, O is for opposite, H is for hypotenuse. Okay, so now here C is, that's your cosine, A is adjacent, H is for hypotenuse. T stands for tangent, O is opposite, A is adjacent. Okay, these are the sides and these are the ratios right here. Okay, every right triangle has only three sides. If you have some sort of figure has a more than three sides, it's not a right triangle. There is a triangle that has a three sides, but it's not a right triangle. So we cannot apply trig ratios to any triangle that is not a right triangle. Right triangle is a triangle that has this line straight. It has a 90-degree angle. Okay, that's a right triangle. Okay, so when just going back to SOH CAH TOA, the way you write it is a trig ratios. Ratio mean, what does ratio mean? Let's talk about that. So ratio is basically, oops, not a ratio. So ratio is basically something divided by something. That's how you write a ratio. Okay. So now how do you write a sine ratio? That's a SOH. S for sine, O for opposite, H for hypotenuse. This is how you write the first one. Oops, sorry. Okay, I'll just rewrite it under here. So it's going to be, might as well just delete that at the very top. Alright. Okay. So your SOH, it's sine theta equal opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So just put line. Write that in a division form. Tan is a tan theta equal opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent here. Okay, so SOH CAH TOA one more time. That is S for sine, and these are the three sides after the trig ratio. So sine theta equal opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is cosine equal adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. You don't need to memorize, just remember the word SOH CAH TOA. Okay, or there's a word called some of our children are having trouble over algebra. I'll just write it here at the very top. Some of her children are having trouble over algebra. If you think this is easier for you to remember, remember that sentence. Okay, so I see the trig ratios are right here. S for sine, O for opposite, H for hypotenuse. So sine theta equal opposite over hypotenuse. Children, C for cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. T for tan, O for opposite, A for adjacent. So tan equal opposite over adjacent. Cosine, you just write the word COS, cos, adjacent over hypotenuse. Sine, you write you just use 3 letters, SIN. It's not a sin, sine, the way you pronounce it, the sine. Sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so some of our children are having trouble over algebra. You pick this sentence, or you can just remember SOH CAH TOA. I have always been using a SOH CAH TOA. It helps me to do my trig ratios. If you just ask me right away, what is cosine equal to? I have to still think about in my head SOH CAH TOA. Okay, because I never bothered to remember these ratios. Alright, so let's do some practice questions. Okay, example number 1. So this is our right triangle. And this is what given to us. Okay, so this is our right triangle. We have one angle given and we have one side given. Okay, every time you do a question, make sure you follow the steps. Whenever you do a math and if you follow the steps properly, there's no way you can get it wrong. But please don't take shortcuts. Okay, step number 1, identify the sides. So label your triangle. You have to tell which side is which side. Hypotenuse is opposite to the right angle and is the longest side. So this is side that is opposite. Here are our sides. Opposite to the 90-degree angle is called hypotenuse. And right here in the very first slide I talked about reference angle. Angle is given to you or they're going to ask you. So this is our reference angle. You're going to label it according to your reference angle. You cannot do a trig questions without labeling your triangle. That is number 1 step. And you have to do it correctly. If you do it wrong, and your whole question is wrong. Okay, even though you are doing the correct math. Okay, but if you're using a wrong trig ratio, your whole question is wrong. So this is how you label it based on your reference angle. Either is it given to you or they will ask you to what is the angle. So you label it, just pretend you're standing right here. If you stand here and you're going to look this way, you're looking at the opposite side. Okay, so that is your opposite side. This is your opposite side. And side that is opposite to the 90-degree, that is hypotenuse. There are only 3 sides in a triangle: opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. So always start with hypotenuse because you know it is opposite to the 90-degree angle. Then label the side that is opposite to the angle. It's given to you or they're asking you, and that is your opposite side. And then the only side left is adjacent. So third side is your adjacent side, or the side you can say the one you're standing on, that is the adjacent side. Alright, so now which ratio we are going to use it here? Okay, I will first write down my SOH CAH TOA. So write the SOH CAH TOA on your paper. This way you don't get confused, and writing it down every time will also help you to memorize it. Use SOH CAH TOA to decide which one of sine, cosine, or tangent to use in this question. Okay, so always, as I said before, I always write it down SOH CAH TOA at the very top of my page. So SOH CAH TOA here. Now we're going to figure out which one we're going to use it. It's only one of them, either sine, cosine, or tangent. Okay, so now let's see which one. We have angle given. Angle can be part of anything: sine, cosine, or tangent. We have to think about the sides. Actually, they're asking us to find the hypotenuse here. Okay, so here is adjacent side. It's not given to us. They're not even asking us. So we don't really need to use a ratio that has adjacent there. We're only going to use a ratio that has the opposite and hypotenuse. Because opposite, we have to use it because it's given to us. Hypotenuse, we have to use it because they want us to find that one. Okay. So now which ratio has the opposite and hypotenuse? That is your sine ratio. Okay. Sine ratio is the one you're going to use it. And then I write it down the way I showed it to you before. So I'll just put it back here again. So it will be sine theta equal opposite over hypotenuse. Okay. So once you know which ratio to use it, write it down this way. Do not take a shortcuts, please. Whenever you try to show your work step by step, you are going to do your question correctly because you have everything written down. If there is any mistake, you can easily figure out where your mistake is. Okay, so this is the ratio. Now I'm going to substitute the values, whatever is given to me. So sine, what is my theta? Theta symbol is used to write the angle. That is 25. So sine 25 equal opposite. What is your opposite? It's given to us. It's a 10 divided by h. We don't know. So that is going to be our x here. Okay. So now I'm just going to solve it here for you. So sine 25 on your calculator. So if you guys can do that, find what's a sine 25. On your calculator, put a sine 25. So if you are doing it correctly, it should be 0.4226. This is the value of sine 25. So just come right here. So sine 25 is 0.4226 equal 10 over x. Now you have something equal something. This is a fraction here. Can I turn this one into a fraction form? Yes, just put over 1. Okay, so every time you have a fraction equal fraction, you can use a cross multiplication method. You can just cross multiply. Okay, there are different ways. This is the one I like it. So it is going to be 0.4226 times x is x. 0.4226 equal 1 times 10 is a 10. Now we need to find what x is. So we need to have x by itself. So what are we going to do? This is x times 0.4226. So we're going to do the inverse of multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is a division. So we are going to divide both sides by 0.4226 because we want to have x by itself. This cancels out. So your answer is x equal 23.7. This is your answer. Okay, that is your hypotenuse. So we are done with example number 1. What you can do if you're not sure, just pause the video and try to do this question on your own, or you can just watch it again. Alright, so let's do example number 2 here. Our question is, find the height of the plane. Okay, so this is our right triangle. We need to find the height. What is the height? How high something is. Okay, so plane is obviously somewhere up. We need to find how high it's from the ground. Okay, so this is the side we need to find. We have this side given to us, which is 1000, and we have an angle given to us. So step number 1, it's label your triangle. Label it. When you label, the side that is opposite to the 90-degree angle is your hypotenuse. Okay. The side, the one is opposite to your reference angle. Reference angle is angle that is given to you. So 60 degrees is given to us. This is your opposite side. And the side adjacent, which is right here where your plane is. So, well, other way you can look at it, there are only 3 sides: opposite, hypotenuse and adjacent. Once we have an opposite and hypotenuse, the only side you have left is adjacent, and this side is adjacent. So now we are dealing with hypotenuse and adjacent. You are going to use your trig ratio that has hypotenuse and opposite. No, sorry, hypotenuse and adjacent. Which one has adjacent and hypotenuse, or hypotenuse and adjacent? Okay, this is the only ratio you have it. You can only use a one ratio, as I said it before. Okay, so why are you going to use cosine? Because cosine is the only ratio that has adjacent and hypotenuse. Now we are going to write it down in this way. So cosine theta equal adjacent over hypotenuse. We're going to substitute the values into our equation. Cosine theta is 60, so we put 60 in terms of theta. Adjacent is h, because we don't know what that is, and hypotenuse is 1000. So what I want you to do, use your calculator, find what cosine 60 degree is. When you put a cosine 60 on your calculator, you are going to get 0.5. So instead of cosine 60, I'm going to put a 0.5 and then just rewrite my next ratio, which is h over 1000. This is written in a fraction form, and I will turn 0.5 also in fraction form. When you have a fraction equal fraction, you are going to cross multiply. So it's 1 times h is h, 0.5 times 1000 is 500. Always try to put your variable on the left side, because that's how it's always written in the textbooks. Variable is on the left side. Something you need to find, it's always on the left side. Whatever that something is on the right side. So our answer is 500 meters. So let's do example number 3. We have our right triangle. This side is given to us. This is something they're asking us. An angle is given to us as well. So what I want you to do, pause the video for a moment and label your triangle. I am going to show it to you, but I want you to try it. Okay. All right. So now I hope you guys have tried that, and let's see if you have it right. So first step number 1 is label it. This is your reference angle. Side that is opposite to your reference angle, it's called the opposite side. Okay. And now this is a 90-degree angle. Side that is opposite to the 90-degree angle is our hypotenuse. And side where the one is wherever angle is, that's adjacent side. Or you can say, pretend this is where you're standing. Always stand where the angle is. And if you're going to look this way, you're looking opposite. Side opposite to the 90 degree is your hypotenuse. And the side you're standing on, it's your adjacent side. Alright, so now let's try to figure out which ratio we are going to use it. We have 3 ratios of SOH CAH TOA. Every time you do a question, write it down SOH CAH TOA at the very top. You can write it down here. Okay, easy to see. So now we are going to use a tangent. Why we are going to use a tangent? Just go one more step back. Okay. So we have an opposite. They're asking us what opposite is. And then we have also adjacent, which is given to us. Which ratio has adjacent and opposite? The only ratio has opposite and adjacent is a tangent. That's why we are going to use a tan ratio. Use a tan ratio. Okay, so I'll just write it down. Tan theta equal opposite over adjacent. We're going to substitute the values into our ratio. Please always write it down this way. It will help you to see. Okay, so now substituting the values into our equation here. Tan theta is 53 degree. That's where 53 is coming from. Equal opposite. It's x over 7. You can't put a 7 over x. So always put in this order. First one is a tan theta equal this side over this side. This side over this side. This side over this side. you can't go this way. It will be wrong. Okay. Alright, so now we are going to try to solve it. Find what's the tan 53. Tan 53 on your calculator, put that. It is 1.32704. That's what you're going to get. So now I'm going to just substitute into tan, in terms of tan 53, I'm just going to write 1.32. So instead of tan 53, it will be 1.32704. So cross multiply. So it will be 7 times 1.32704. And that is equal to, sorry, you can't see, it will be x equal 9.29. That is your opposite side. I don't have any units here. In case, let's say you have a unit given to you, this is 7 meters, centimeters, whatever is that, then make sure you carry on the units at the very end. Okay, we're done with example number 3. I want you to do the notes. Please make sure you do the notes for these 3 examples. And now here is your homework. These 4 questions are your homework. Please show your work for all these 4 questions. So they are all related to 3 examples we just did. If you have any questions, you can ask me or any of your supporting teachers. So please submit your assignment by Friday. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.